And we all know it doesn't matter what you look like. If you are a confident person, you are sexy. In this episode of Discussions, we're going to talk about understanding your flavor and accepting your own sexy. This is a problem I have seen in dating for years. I was online dating back when it was uncomfortable to even talk about in social groups because nobody, it was weird. So, but one thing I have learned through all of this dating is there's a lot of self-confidence issues out there. A lot of people who don't like to understand, or a lot of people who don't truly understand who they are and what their flavor is. And this is one of the big major objective. This is one of the big major objectives that Start With Me has, is to get people to fully understand themselves, to understand where they are today. And remember that just because you understand where you are, if you don't like it, it doesn't matter. If you love it, it's beautiful. If you don't, go ahead and change it. But the fact is in order to understand where you're going to go, you need to understand where you are. But in order to build real deep sense of confidence, owning and understanding who you truly are, learning your boundaries, your desires, your wants, your everything, your ability to communicate who you are in a relationship purely comes down to the fact of you understanding who you are. That's the first step before you can even start getting to understanding how to communicate that, is you understanding who you are. And I like to use the analogy, and it will be utilized across these apps as some of the discussion points. Understanding your flavor. Your flavor is the accumulation of everything you've experienced all combined into you, right? You know, your life experiences, your bad dating, your good dating, your failures, your successes, your bad days, your good days. The person that you are right now as you're seeing this, that is your flavor. Now, the strength of your flavor is going to change throughout the day. It's going to change from day to day. This is why this is such a good analogy for this, because your personality changes so much and it's so easy to taint your flavor, give you a sweet flavor, change your attitude, and excite your flavor. You can be spicy. You can be dull. You are a flavor of human being. There's some jokes in there that you could really come up with, but obviously my flavor is a bit immature. So, but the concept is you understand what your flavor is. And in order to really find the confidence and to truly accept your own sexy, whether you're overweight, out of shape, whether you are fit, looking good, you are very unique, Dungeons and Dragons kind of guy, you live in your mom's basement, you live in the top floor of a skyscraper, it doesn't matter what you are, who you are, where you are. The concept is once, if you want to be a confident human being, you need to understand your flavor and you need to accept what your flavor is. But once you understand your flavor, now you have the ability to add spices to it. You can add hobby, you can add characteristics, you can learn new skills. Emotional intelligence is a skill set. That's why you see people have a lot of it and some people who have none of it. Not all of us were raised in highly emotionally intelligent families. A lot of this stuff we had to go and learn through trial and error and massive failures. Let me tell you, this entire concept of Start With Me is stemmed from the simple fact that I have lacked a lot of emotional intelligence and self-awareness in so many different perspectives. But I've never feared addressing my failures in problems. So I've gone through and done a lot of hard work and grown to be the version of who I am today, which still has miles and miles to go. But the fact of the matter is I understand my flavor. I have been called cocky. I have been called arrogant. I've very quickly tried to fix that one because I'm not arrogant. I am confident though. I am cocky, but I also know my limitations. I know who I am and I'm very comfortable with who I am. My favorite compliment with this one was being the most masculine, emotionally intelligent man's man I've ever met. That was my favorite one. Um, but I've had a lot of failures that taught me all of this stuff. And I've had to learn to accept a lot of emotions and understanding who I am as a person, understanding my wants, my desires, my needs, my shortcomings, my successes. And by understanding all of this and truly understanding who I am, I've been able to do some really profound things in my life. I've lived a lot of life being 40. And now I'm start with me in order to get this concept rolling, that people help start to begin and understand who they are. You know, in order to build real confidence in yourself, the first thing you have to do is understand who you are. This is one thing I learned from going through the Marine Corps boot camp. Marine Corps boot camp is fundamentally, the first section of boot camp is breaking you down to the weakest point of humanity you could be, and then hazing you back up and showing you what you're capable of. And during the entire time, their entire intent is to give you a mindset that says, we are Marines, we are powerful, we are amazing, blah, blah, blah. You know, all that Marine Corps stuff. But all they did was break you down, rebuild you, and then instill that mindset along the journey. And obviously we can't go around hazing everyone in the world. So we got to try to introduce this concept in more of a acceptable approach. And the idea that I am presenting and bringing is that first you understand who you are, understand your weaknesses, understand your strengths, understand your experiences, understand that you lack things, understand that you have experiences that put you miles ahead of people, right? Not everyone grew up in a family. Not everyone grew up in the best experiences. A lot of people have some really deep, dark life circles that kind of grew up in. But those all created the flavor of you. And when you truly understand the flavor of you, you can start building real confidence. Because once you understand where your boundaries are, when you understand who you are, no one can convince you of what you aren't. Right? Nobody can convince you to be something else because you understand who you are. You know, and then this will roll into a whole section of discussion where we need to start addressing, like, okay, well, do you like where you are? Do you understand where you are? Where do you want to be? But the first step of this entire journey is to understand where you are. And by learning your flavor and understanding your flavor, when it comes to entering the dating world, you are going to have a million times more successful conversations and connections with people because you'll know what to communicate. You'll know what to share. It will all start making sense to you as you're going around filtering out, like, what means a lot to you? What could you care less about? Right? We all have the things that mean a lot to us when it comes to certain relationships. And we all have the things where it's like, well, all right, let's do it your way, because I honestly don't have an opinion on that. So if you can truly understand your flavor, and that's what our journey does. Our journey and Start With Me is the beginning of this journey of understanding who you are. And we're taking a psychological approach using psychology so that you have a foundation to stand on that has a sense of merit in backing that is arguable, for one, and for two, has years and years of smart people building and researching this stuff so that we actually have a good understanding of human personalities. And we need to further that along as well. But this is a perspective that we need to get people to go. We need people to understand their flavor so they can they can find their confidence. And when you find your confidence, you can accept your sexy. And we all know it doesn't matter what you look like. If you are a confident person, you are sexy. It doesn't matter if you're overweight. It doesn't matter if you're underweight. It doesn't matter if you're super meaty. Like, it doesn't matter about anything. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. If you are confident in who you are, you will attract people. It's a factor of humanity. It's just something we all navigate to. Authentically confident people are enjoyable. And the thing is Everyone is capable of that. But what we have to do is get them to understand their own flavor. So, we ask you, what is your flavor? How would you describe your flavor?